the all-conquering Ford Transit. This multi-purpose vehicle almost ran British Leyland Motor Company's light commercial business out of business. But an innovative idea of rummaging around the parts bin saved the day and gave BLMC a new vehicle that would keep evolving for more than 3 decades. This is the story of the Leyland Sherpa, the van and minibus that was a real-life kitbashing project. Hi, this is Jeffrey. So back in the early 1970s, the British Leyland Motor Corporation was down to about a 7% share of the multi-purpose van market. Looking to stay relevant in this vehicle segment, they embarked upon an innovative and cost-effective solution to develop a new vehicle. It's a really fascinating story, so let's get started in learning about the Leyland Sherpa and its minibus variations. By the end of the 1960s, British Leyland Motor Corporation, or BLMC, had a multi-purpose van problem. The J4, introduced in 1960, was becoming quite elderly to be a real serious competitor to newer offerings such as the Ford Transit and Bedford CF. The Commer PB, whose main customer was the post office, was about the only van that BLMC could outcompete. An early concept vehicle for a replacement was the Leyland CV300. This was a front-drive vehicle with superb low loading, with similarities to the Citroen C32 and even the HZ. But there was resistance to this idea, especially from the powerful trade distribution panel which had input into such vehicles and didn't want front-wheel drive. So that idea was nixed by management. The next concept was the CV154, which resembled the Ford Transit. Estimated to cost £8 million to bring to market, it was too expensive an idea for just a simple van. Therefore, how do you create a new vehicle inexpensively? In a drastic move, engineers searched through the parts bin of the JU and J4 series of vehicles to see what they could come up with to create a van made up of castaway parts, or parts that wouldn't have normally come together, but might actually work in unison. Just a few of the parts and pressings used consisted of JU underframe and axles, J4 side panels and roof, Marina 1.8-liter B-Series petrol engine, mini exterior door handles, Austin 2200 steering wheel, instrument nacelle from Marina van, and many more. Wherever existing parts could be used, they were, and no existing choice was ruled out. Add in whatever new body panels were required to put it all together, and the new vehicle was born. And so, what would this new multi-purpose vehicle launched in 1974 be? It was the CV306, also known as the Leyland van, and renamed about 6 months later to be called the Leyland Sherpa. The initial Sherpa lineup consisted of vans in 185, 215, and 250 versions, where, for example, 185 denoted a gross vehicle weight of 1.85 tons, and so on. Pickups in 215 and 240 versions, and various chassis cab options in 220 and 250 versions, and of course, a 240 crew bus and minibus. Now, let's take a look at some of the basic specifications of the Leyland Sherpa minibus. Number 1, length is 4.76 meters. Number 2, width is 1.96 meters. Number 3, height is 1.98 meters. Number 4, empty weight is about 3,700 kilograms with a gross vehicle weight of 2.5 tons. Number 5, passenger capacity is 12 passengers for the deluxe model and 14 for the crew bus. Number 6, engine is the 1622 and 1798 cc B-Series petrol units and a diesel version of the latter. In 1978, the 1.7 and 2.0 liter O-Series engines replaced the original 1622 and 1798 cc's B-Series petrol units. And finally, number 7, top speed of the original Sherpas often struggled to exceed 60 to 65 miles per hour. The bus versions were offered in 2 configurations, one that was quite comfortable and the other much more Spartan. Barbara Smith, a marketing manager at British Leyland's commercial light vehicle division in the 1970s, explains the differences.
The Sherpa was available in deluxe minibus or basic crew bus form. The minibus was outfitted with comfortable, fully trimmed seats for 12, including the driver. Cloth seats were available at an additional cost. 5 interior lamps and a full-length rubber floor mat round out the features. The crew bus would hold 14 passengers in addition to the driver. Rear seating was all longitudinal in wood slat form, but had 2 fully trimmed passenger seats up front. The minibus had side and rear doors, while the crew bus only had rear doors.
In 1978, engine options were uprated and the range was redesignated from 200 to 255, with the minibus being 250 only. A few months after the engine changes, the Sherpa was rebadged as a Morris. In 1981, British Leyland created the Freight Rover division as part of the Land Rover Group, so the Sherpa's badges were changed again. However, the Sherpa was now 14% of the light commercial market. The redesigned and short-lived Sherpa K2 appeared in 1982, and it was facelifted again in 1984 as the Freight Rover 200 series, in 1989 as the Leyland DAF 200 series, in 1993 as the LDV 200, and finally in 1996 as the LDV Pilot. And who could forget the breadbox Doormobile Sherpas? While the end came in 2006 for the last descendant of the Sherpa, there is no doubt the Sherpa helped breathe new life into British Leyland when its LCV market was at its last breath. And so there it is, the story of the Leyland Sherpa, the life-size, 1-to-1 scale kitbashing project. And it was also the van that had something of an identity crisis, because this vehicle had so many different names, there were probably even more names than are listed in this video. So if you have an interesting story about the Leyland Sherpa, just let us know in the comments below, because they are always interesting to read. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at the Leyland Sherpa van and minibus. And as always, thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.